Well, equal protection. I mean, ultimately, this is about people without documents being treated fairly. This is about police in different jurisdictions across America not deciding to do the work of the federal government and detain people who have civil injunctions against them because they didn't appear before an immigration judge. What's happening right now is you have overzealous police chiefs around the country are suddenly taking it into their own hands to have their own immigration policy. We know it's illegal. It's already not passing muster in federal court. You have the case in Hazleton, Pennsylvania. Already a federal judge struck it down. Localities cannot come up with their own immigration policy. It kind of reminds me of Miami coming up with its own Cuba foreign policy. Can't do that, right? There's a reason why we're part of this federation of states, if you will. So what happens is, I see it in a lot of these countries and a lot of these counties across America. So you have these overzealous folks that are oppressing people also based on how they look. The way these laws are written, it says if there is a reason to suspect that we stopped you for that taillight, right? We suspect that you may be here without papers. Well, what would cause someone to think that, my Anglo friend, doesn't have papers? They probably should, because there are a lot of Irish, by the way, undocumented here too. And they've been supporting us. They've been going to our rallies. But the assumption is that if you're here without papers, you're going to be a person of color. And you're most likely going to be Hispanic. So now where a lot of people are reading into this law is suddenly all of us, who are Hispanic, and in my case, yeah, I totally pass for white Anglo, but my name is Manuel Hidalgo, Jorge, Jr. I mean, they may look at that and decide, maybe he's, not here legally, and detain me and keep me from picking up my 4 kids from school, and God knows got repercussions that's got. So in other words, all our rights are in jeopardy when a class of people's rights are in jeopardy. And that's the connection to the civil rights struggle. I mean, civil rights was essentially about the notion that if there's injustice somewhere, there's injustice everywhere. And I think more and more African Americans are warming up to comprehensive immigration reform because they're seeing the similarities to their own struggle. And not just African Americans. Everyone at one point experienced discrimination in this country. There were a time when Germans weren't wanted, when Irish weren't wanted. I think maybe the Brits, I don't know if they have an argument about being oppressed at some point or another, but I wouldn't be surprised. Have they? I don't know. Let's ask George.
We oppress George all the time. It's a localized issue.
It's a localized issue. But, Native Americans are probably, the only ones that can make a claim. And I would argue African Americans whose ancestors were brought here as slaves, right? They didn't come as immigrants. They were forced to be here. I'm willing to sit down with those guys and talk about this. Everyone else, all I have to say is look at your past. Look at what your people went through to be accepted by this society. Walk in the shoes of an immigrant once again. Not for the first time, but your ancestors. Walk in those shoes. Put yourself in that situation and then tell me how you want to vote.